might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space.
I hope you guys liked the intro to the video and that was entertaining for you. I'm going to do a few questions from today's homework and we're going to start with number 2. Sometimes these word phrases are a little bit more confusing because they don't actually have a story, so we're going to get started and translate it into an inequality. When you read this, it says 2 4/10 times a number. Minus 3 is greater than. That's the first part of my equation. So I'm going to go back 2 4/10 times a number. That's a mixed number and I'm going to round it down. 2 4/10 times a number. Minus 3 is greater than 1 6/10 times a number. So now I have another mixed number. 1 6/10 times a number. Minus 4 1/10, another mixed number. Some people can do this keeping it as fractions. Me personally, I think decimals are easier, so that's how I'm going to do it. 2.4 times a number minus 3 is greater than 1.6n minus 4.1. I like to put all the variables on the left, and some people do it either way, and you're still going to get the same answer, except in inequalities, when you have a less than or greater than sign at the end, we're going to talk about something you need to watch out for. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this variable, which is 1.6n, to the opposite side. Right now, it's positive 1.6. So when it goes to the opposite side, it's the opposite number. So I'm going to put negative 1.6n. When you're thinking, do I really add these or subtract these? This is what I tell people to think in their brain. 2.4, that's a positive number. You have $2.40. 1.6, I'm subtracting or it's a negative. That means I'm spending money or I'm giving it away or I owe someone. So if I have $2.40 and I spend $1.60, I actually still have some money left and I have 80 cents left. So I'm going to put 0.8 times a number and it's going to stay positive. I'm going to carry down the two constant numbers. On the left side, it's negative 3, and on the right side, it's negative 4.1. My symbol still stays the same in the middle. It's greater than. The next step is move all your constant numbers to the opposite side. The left side has a constant number of negative 3. When I move it to the opposite side, it needs to be the opposite of negative 3. That's positive 3. All right, now we got more room. If I think about this as money again, I owe $4.10 to someone, but I only have $3. Did I pay them all back, or do I still owe them some money? Honestly, I would still owe them some money. So my answer is going to be negative, and I'm going to still owe them $1.10. The sign in the middle is greater than, and the variable is 0.8n. Your last step is divide, and some people just type this in their calculator without writing it down, and sometimes they make mistakes. So I'm going to write down negative 1.1 divided by 0.8. Here's what you need to watch out for. This number that you're dividing by, if it is positive, then your symbol stays the same direction that it is. If the number you're dividing by is ever negative, that's when you flip this sign and it becomes the opposite from what it is right now. Once you type that in your calculator, you should get it to say n is greater than negative 1.375. Okay? Lots of people like to check their answers. So we thought on the last slide that the answer was the number should be greater than negative 1.375. You can choose any number you want that is greater than 1.375. put it back into the equation where the letter N is, solve it, and your left side should be greater than your right side. So you can see where my variable was originally in the problem. I just chose the easy number of 1 because positive 1 is greater than negative 1. I worked out the question, and on the left side, I got negative 0.6. On the right side, I got negative 2.5. Negatives are a little confusing, so I drew a number line at the bottom to show you this. We all know that in positives, the number that's more to the right, like positive 3, is bigger than positive 1. So the same goes for the negatives. If your number is more to the right on the number line when you graph it, it is larger than the numbers that are more to the left. So I could prove this is true. Question 4 at the bottom of this page is about a car rental company. There's Zapp's car rental company and Easy Car rental company. So the first thing I'm going to do is read the problem and look for the clue at the end that tells me if I need a greater than sign, a less than sign, or an equal to sign. So as I'm reading this last sentence, it says, after how many hours to the nearest hour, that's a clue I'm going to round my answer at the end, is it less expensive to rent a car from Easy Car Rental? Some people may choose to write their equation this way. They have Easy Car first, and then the less than sign, and then Zapp's. Some people may choose to write it the opposite way because in the story problem, actually Zapp's was first. And it's okay to do that. You can put Zapp first, and we want Zapp to cost more than Easy Car. So I'm going to turn my symbol the other direction. And then I want Easy Car. Either one of these two equations is fine. It's your choice. Just remember at the end, if you're dividing by a negative number, if your variable has a negative number, you will need to flip your sign the opposite direction. So I'm going to help you set this one up. I'm going to go with this orange equation just because that's the one at the bottom and I can write underneath it. The information that you know about Zapp Car Rental is that it charges $15 an hour to rent a car. And that's it. So I'm going to put 15H plus 0. I always like to put plus 0, but you don't absolutely have to. They don't have any extra fees, so I'm just showing that by putting plus 0. Easy Car Rental charges $8.50 per hour plus a fee of $25.50. So I'm going to put that in, $8.50 per hour plus the fee of $25.50. Right now, I do not have an extra number over here on the left side, so it definitely would be easier to move my variable to this side. Right now, $8.50 is positive, so when I move it to the opposite side, it needs to be the opposite. It should be negative $8.50. $15 is positive, so that's like you have $15. $8.50 is now subtracting or it's negative. So if you have $15 and you spend $8.50, you still have some money left. So I know my answer is going to be positive right here, $7.50. Oops, that should be 6. Sorry. $6.50 per hour. And then I'm going to go ahead and leave the 0 out at this point and just say that needs to be greater than the other constant number that I have left is $25.50. So I'm just going to write that down. $25.50. So my last step, and some people forget to do this, is you need to write down what are you dividing. I am dividing $25.50 by $6.50. We're focusing on this number. 650 is positive, so I am not going to flip my sign. It is still going to stay final answer. Hour is greater than, and then remember it said your nearest hour. So when you divide this in your calculator and it's a crazy number, you get to round it to the nearest whole. When I divided this in my calculator, I got 3.92 dot 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 dot. It kept going. So if I round this to the nearest whole number, 3.92 should go to a 4. So I'm going to say my final answer is the number of hours has to be greater than 4 in order for easy car rental to be the least expensive. So again, I could check my answer. I have my original equation. My answer was the number of hours had to be greater than 4. So I just chose the next whole number, which was 5. I put that in the equation where the h was, or my variable. I worked it out. I multiplied those numbers times 5. And then I got 75 on the left side and 68 on the right side. The sign was supposed to be greater than, so you can check and see 75 is greater than 68. So now I know that I had the correct answer. Question 7 is the last one I'm going to help you guys with for this problem. And I'm going to set it up. This one has a little bit different way of wording the last part of the problem. I'm going to zoom in on this for a second. If you read the last sentence, it says, write and solve an inequality to find the number of hours for which ACE charge is less than or the same as. That is a really important thing. We haven't had both of these in the same question yet. When this happens, your symbol is going to be a less than, but then you also have one line of your equal sign underneath it. So I'm going to zoom back out so we can see the table. I'm going to help you write the equation, and then you guys are going to solve it. We want ACE to be less than or the same as Acme. I'm going to write ACE on this side of the equation, and then the sentence said less than or the same as. So my symbol, again, I'm going to start out with the less than symbol, but then I'm also going to have part of an equal sign underneath it. And then I'm going to put Acme on this side of the equation. I'm just going to look over at my table of information, copy down what they say onto each side of the equation. So ACE is at the bottom of the chart. That information is going to go on the left for me because that's how I chose to set it up. So ACE charges no fee. I'm going to put plus $34.75 per hour. Then I have my symbol less than or equal to. I'm going to look in the chart. Acme charges a fee of $49 plus $22.50 per hour. Now you guys can solve this equation just at the end. Remember that your sign is not just going to be less than, it's going to be less than or equal to. Good luck.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy.
Have a happy weekend, guys.
Like that's